Janette Brin, welcome to the Paradise Perspectives podcast. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you have actually made the time because I know that right now, and it's mid May as we're recording this, you are one of the busiest women in the Caribbean today. So thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Well, I can go on and on about what I have discovered about you online, and this is the first time we're actually seeing each other face to face. So I'm also
Yeah.
here, kind of like girl crushing heart, but
Ah,
and I've done my homework, and I know that you are the founder and the CEO of Caribbean Posh, which is, of course, this fantastic platform that you have created for Caribbean women. And that is just so close to my heart and aligns perfectly with what I hope this podcast can be as well. So I have always kind of admired Caribbean Posh from a distance. I've always followed it on social media. The moment I discovered it online, but to now having you here, I feel like it's an injustice if I go into this monotone of what I found online and let you instead say yourself in your own words what Caribbean Posh is and how it actually started.
well, it is. It means a whole lot to me. I could tell you that it's a movement. It started back in what year that was undergrad. I could tell you undergrad in my undergrad at college. I studied marketing, by the way, and I just recall taking a marketing class and came up with this idea. I had to do a marketing plan for a business. And with that, I wanted it to be something I would really be doing in my future. So I took the time to work on this whole thing called Caribbean Posh. And how I came up with the name was when I was younger. One of my uncles always used to say, "Girl, you look posh, you dress up nice. That's posh, you posh, and that term just stuck with me. And we know the definition of posh is, it's stylish, it's smart. And I wanted to have that relate to how I feel or how I feel about the Caribbean or how I feel we should feel as Caribbean nationals about ourselves and this place we call home. Because I have experienced situations, sorry, where visitors might, kind of throw a little shade our way or what
Mhm.
have you, looking at us some kind of way when they see like our little shanties or children outside playing in their underwear, those kind of things that you might see in Caribbean neighborhoods. But I equate those as our life and they have value to us as Caribbean people, whether you come from the wealthy areas or you just come from the everyday areas. It's all Caribbean. It's all definition of who we are as Caribbean people, and we should be proud of it. We shouldn't be shy about who we are as Caribbean people. So, with all that, that's how the name Caribbean Posh came about. It's meant to encourage us to think highly of ourselves and celebrate and don't be shy about it. Be unapologetic about all things that make up who we are as Caribbean people, no matter where you are from across the region, right? Um, so, you know, gosh, so I came up with that name, came up with the plan, started an online magazine where I was reaching out to different people to do interviews. I was living in Maryland, so I had some good connects in New York. I would be going back and forth, connecting with different Caribbean people, a lot of VP Records artists. I would get my interviews and this and that. Around the time too, I'd actually connected with Yvette Knowles Shore from Grenada, who's Beyonce's publicist, and we became good friends during that time because who knew, through um, what happened? I was interviewing Wyclef Jean, and she was head of PR at Columbia Records at the time, and I came to her office, and she's like, she was just like, Caribbean, we Caribbean, and it's like, listen, Wyclef, you're gonna treat her nice. Her thing was, you're gonna treat her. just as you would the Essence or the Vogue or all those big publications. So these are just the type of things that just help to define Caribbean Posh developing as a platform and further inspire me to take it further. So fast forward to 2016, by that time I had already moved back home to the Virgin Islands and I wanted to bring the platform to life. And I said, let's do an event. Let's do a power brunch, you
Yes.
know. Um, what better way to get us as Caribbean women together? Um, Bringing this platform to life meant, you know, giving us an opportunity to have our voices heard, um, regardless of what our respective genres were, whether you're a writer or a photographer or actress or whatever you were trying to do. We all have this understanding in the Caribbean. Sometimes you might have big dreams and it's a little harder for you to go after those dreams. And not everyone has the bravery to just up and leave home to go make it happen, you know. So regardless of your circumstances, I wanted Caribbean Posh to be a platform where you could have your moment to be celebrated and to be recognized, and have be a part of meaningful conversations that would in turn inspire you to do those things you might have been shying away from, and feel like you're in a safe space with people just like you who understand what it means to be from a little small island. And not everybody, you know, we some of us have grandparents that say, my grandmother used to say like, y'all singing every Billy Billy song or every pan that knock, you know, all these things, you know. But as a young person, you just had aspirations watching TV. You wanted to be a little bit more than what the older generation might have been, you know, comfortable with, I guess.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, so, you know, it I don't know, it just became a serious passion for me. And from that first event, I immediately saw the potential to go even further. Even recall Yvette coming one year and she was like, "Oh, Janet, this event, you got to have it multiple places. You got to bring it to New York. You got to bring it to Miami. You got to go to Trinidad. You got to, you know." I'm like, "Oh, hold on, we getting there." You know, everybody just saw the potential. Um, but with every year that passed, we just chip away to see what else we could do to evolve and be better and grow and connect and make sure that we were really creating a safe space and allowing women the opportunity to connect with not only like-minded people but like-hearted people, that believed in the importance of being celebrated for your identity, and the importance of, you know, just us as Caribbean women being able to leverage each other's strengths and, um, innovations that we have happening in our respective spaces, you know. And I could go on and on and on and on, but yeah, it's just been a beautiful journey, not without its challenges. I have my moments where it's like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But I'm always, quickly reminded, especially once the event is, executed, or even after, you know, whatever opportunity I have to engage with people, I'm reminded that, the work I'm doing is important and it means something to somebody.
Yes. Yes.
um, so it's been great, and it's also been great to have. I'm very proud of the diversity in the people, the women that have participated on the platform thus far. You know, you'd hear us talk about, you know, the likes of Yvette Noshore, actress Aisha Hines, or, um, who else? Allison Hines, or, you know, our celebrity
Mhm.
Caribbean women. But you have your everyday women who are doing, you know, doctors, lawyers. You'll have young women who are aspiring, so they're emerging entrepreneurs, and just being in that space and be able to connect and everybody have an opportunity to learn. Because even the people who we view as very successful, they're still
Yeah.
learning too. They're still
Yeah.
growing. And I must say, I appreciate when they are willing to take the time out to just lend a hand back and remind us, those of us who are still trying to find our way, that, it is, anything is possible once you just put your heart and mind to it. And yeah, it is possible in this big crazy world to make meaningful connections, and it's even cooler when it's with other Caribbean women. So it's
Yeah.
like, hey.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
the first thing I have to say is like I'm listening to your story, and it's just it's smile. I'm smiling from like ear to ear because it's relatable, but at the same time, it's like, oh, you see, this is what we need more of. But first of all, when I heard Caribbean Posh, the first thing I thought is maybe the name came from Posh Spice. That is where my mind went immediately. And then so actually
Yeah.
hearing where the name comes from is like so much better. But again, it shows how much we are influenced by the US and, in some
Mm,
of our cases, even Europe. I come from a Dutch Caribbean island. So
hmm.
the Netherlands was a big influence. Europe in general was a big influence.
Yes.
The French Caribbean, France is a big influence. And then for us, having access to US TV has become such a thing that we now
Yes.
aspire to be that. But I think it is also important for us as Caribbean people to remember that we have a platform here.
Yes.
Don't immediately, it doesn't mean that you haven't made it if you haven't made it in the US or in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You can make
Mm-hmm.
it here as well. And I think that is one of the biggest things that I find such an inspiration in Caribbean Posh, because you are celebrating, like you said, not only the ones who have already made it, and I do that in
Mm-hmm.
brackets because
Yes. Yes.
we are still learning and climbing the stairs, and we're
Yes.
still dreaming of potential bigger things. But we're also talking, you're also inviting and putting in the spotlight uh, emerging entrepreneurs, fashionistas, fashion designers. You had our own St. Martin born designer in your on your platform as well. There's a video of
Mm-hmm.
her on the website, which I thought was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my girl Duzon. But
Yes.
yeah, so there's a
She's
lot.
joining us in BVI this year for the
Oh, she
event. Yes.
has to. Her designs are amazing, as she should, right? But there are
Yes.
so many of us that grow thinking and hearing our parents tell us, "You're from a Caribbean island, stop dreaming." Keep
Mm-hmm.
your head from in the clouds and keep them here. We have learned that from a very early age. Now it's becoming a little better, but
Yeah. Yeah.
especially from our generation, we have grown with parents that, I don't know how your parents were, but my
Mm-hmm.
father, for instance, I wanted to be a photographer, and my father was saying, yeah, well, there's no money in that, so you're going to study marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of way of growing up. And I think in certain way, us Caribbean people are still made to feel small, but it's the once we unite as Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
people, we are a force. And I
Yep.
another thing that I love about Caribbean Posh. So, having spoken about how difficult or semi difficult it is to actually become something or someone in the Caribbean, um, what were some of your fears that might have come up for you when it started with just a seed in the brains with, oh, I would love to do this? What were some of the things that were trying to keep you back from it, from actually doing the necessary to get to where you wanted to get?
Um, I think one of the biggest fairs, it's not really it's like more of a challenge really, is being able to raise the funding to execute the event on the level that I feel it should be.
Hmm.
Because the brand is Caribbean Posh. And I feel when women come to the event, they're coming to be celebrated, and they deserve a rewarding experience.
Hmm.
We're not going to all this trouble for something mediocre. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it,
Hmm.
because I recognize, when I speak to different Caribbean women from different walks of life, you you just feel the struggle. and just the desire just to be heard. Like, there are
Mhm.
women who really are leaning into the fact, like, hey, I am working really hard
Yeah.
at something, and myself included.
Mhm.
I'm working really hard at something, and at some point I need for somebody to just see me and
Mhm.
recognize what I'm doing and recognize the sacrifices that I'm making. Every woman has that story. Every person has that story. Um, so, as it's just a human thing to do, to take time out to recognize our human need, the need that we ache for. Sometimes we don't even realize that that's what we're aching for. Just somebody to say, I see you, and you
Yes.
are great, and you
Yeah.
are I'm inspired by you. And
Yeah.
we need that every now and then to keep us going, because the world is not easy at all.
Yeah. Especially in
So
this day and
we
age,
can't
right?
take for granted the importance of just doing simple things like that, showing each other love. A
Mhm.
little bit more love in the world does not hurt.
Especially
Yes,
everything that is going on right now. It's just so much
yes,
that can, and I heard you say that in an interview. It trickles down to us eventually. We always feel
yes,
what
it does.
someone is feeling. It always trickles down to us. So, as somebody who hosts retreats and plans events myself, I recognize that there's a power. There's such a power when women get together in a room. It's really nice to talk to each other online and have a community
Yeah,
online, but it's when you actually get to be in the same room that is where, in my
yes,
opinion, the magic really happens. So
yes.
you're about to create magic because, again, actually, because you'll be celebrating not only the 10th anniversary of the event, but you're hosting again the Caribbean Posh Weekend. And my cat is trying to make an appearance because he wants to be heard and seen too.
Yes.
Yes, so you are about to, this will then be your 10th anniversary of the events, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
so this year, tell us a little bit about what is going on and what we can expect. I mean, it's happening in June.
So the last weekend in June, it's a busy weekend, a lot going on in the world.
Mhm.
But we'll be here in the British Virgin Islands celebrating once again, all the amazing Caribbean women. Whether you're present in the room or not, we'll be celebrating you. And June 26th, it'll kick off with the Caribbean Posh Icon Woman Awards. We recently announced our honorees for this year. We have the Premier of Anguilla, Cora Richardson Hodge. She is the first female premier in the Commonwealth
Mhm.
countries. So we're excited to have her. Really lovely lady. And she leads her administration on a people first kind of movement. So we're very eager to have her join us and share some wisdom with us. Because I feel some energy. Her joining us this year is very timing because there's a movement in the Caribbean, if you will. I mean, we just saw it in Bahamas,
Mhm.
with female leadership just elevating,
Yeah.
and we certainly want to see more of that. All of us have our different political challenges. So I every now and then I say to myself, you know what? I feel like women are going to be the one to make some significant change in the Caribbean. So we need some more of the likeness of the Coras and the Mia
Yes.
Motleys and
Yeah.
those type of ladies. So excited for that. We also have, we're recognizing Lynette Harrigan. She's from the BVI. She's done some significant work in the tourism space, along with Jennifer Matarangas King, also doing some amazing work in the tourism space over in USVI. Who else do we have? Lima or Helima Roebuck. She's the owner of Row FM, a radio station in St. Croix. One of few females and a young female owning a radio station. So she's doing amazing things. We have Dr. I hope I get a pronouncing of her name right. Legina Henry, Dr. Henry, from Barbados. She's the founder of
Mm.
Rum and Sargasm.
I
Very unique name
I
of her
am
company.
so excited to hear more about your company right away. I'm excited to hear
Yes.
from all of these women and also the ones that are just going to be there. But this
Yes.
particular one has really tickled my fancy.
Yeah. Well, I'm always we have like this whole I have this whole list that I keep of
Mhm.
it's tiered. Because I do a lot of research about Caribbean women doing things in the region. So I'm always excited. Well, it's great to have some big celebrity names.
Mhm.
I'm really, really excited about these women who are doing real innovative things that lend itself to really having potential economic benefit for the region. And that can only come if we lean into each other and like what do you need to help make this innovation happen in a bigger way? Because
Yeah,
I could already see the potential of this really benefiting the region. When you have
exactly.
more innovation in the region and you investing in your people, that helps us to be less reliant on the big powers of the world. They'll always be there. We can't like get rid of them or anything. But if we are more, if we are more self-reliant on certain things, our economies would be so much better, I think. I like to use the example of the grocery store. If you go into a grocery store and you could see if you and you have the opportunity to buy more Caribbean produced goods, we're really doing something. We're really saying something because that means we're supporting us as a region more.
Yeah,
And it can only benefit our economies. That means if you buy a Caribbean made product, you are benefiting the Caribbean.
exactly. Hmm.
So I'm excited with when I learn about women who are doing those level of innovative things. We have to celebrate them. Like, why not? We should celebrate
Exactly.
them.
Yeah.
So excited about that.
But I think it's also, especially coming from us, these smaller Caribbean islands who are so
Mm,
reliant on tourism, constantly tourism, and we're constantly, as women, focusing on the visitor, on the outsider, on our,
yes.
instead of pouring it into ourselves. I think that is why the event like yours, Caribbean Posh Weekend, is
Mm-hmm.
so important. It is a time for the woman herself to be in a room where she herself is celebrated and that she is not
Mm-hmm.
constantly pouring into other things, uh,
Yeah.
and also like you said, just having more Caribbean women doing things for the Caribbean people and the Caribbean islands is so
Mm-hmm.
important. And it is important also to not only look at it and give them a round of applause and say them, oh, well done, but actually support them in what they're doing, because that's the
Mm-hmm.
we should be doing. It's I love everything about this coming event that is happening at the end of June. Now, you said that you have a couple of the nominees. You have just
Mm-hmm.
released names, like you said, and there is the voting is happening right now, and anybody can actually vote, I guess, and it's for free.
So we haven't launched the voting part yet.
Hmm.
We're still accepting the nominations.
Okay.
We're going to close that off. This is actually our second round of nominations that we're accepting, and we're going to close that off May 22nd. And so as soon as we do that, then we're going to publicize who all the nominees are across the 17 categories, from founders, entrepreneurship to sports, film, a very diverse group of categories. Um, so we're gonna do the voting shortly after, and the voting is really to help us narrow down the finalists, especially if we have a lot of nominees in a particular category. And I know some people get a little leery about voting because it might lend itself to a popularity contest,
Right.
or you feel like if you're from a smaller island, you don't really stand a chance if somebody's coming from a bigger island.
Mhm.
But I want people to know that it's not just the voting. It's about, the work that you've been doing as well. We do pay attention and read what's submitted.
Yes.
So when we get a good picture of the impact that you've been making in your community, that speaks for itself as well. And it's fun to have your community join in the celebration. And it's also fun for other Caribbean women who might not have been aware of you and what you're doing in your respective island, having an opportunity to learn about you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that as well. So
Okay,
participate.
so just to kind of like to say it again, what you just said. So just to repeat it, so
Hmm.
we can put in our nominations until May 22nd. So anybody
Yes.
we think is definitely somebody who should be considered for
Yes.
any of these categories, then we can
Yes.
actually put in the name. So if you have any nominees, this is your time to do it. We have until May 22nd, and I know this podcast is coming out on May 21st. So we pretty much have like 24 hours, girls. So we got to do it. Any Caribbean woman who have you as seen as an inspiration of somebody who has done great things, you can put in her name for a nominee in the different categories. So, and all you can
Yes.
do, and how do we go about doing that?
So you visit our website, www.caribbeanposh.com/WKD, and you select the Caribbean Posh Icon Awards. There's a full page that gives you all the information. There's a form that you fill out and submit it. You have to make sure you complete all the required fields,
Hmm.
upload your high resolution photo, and yeah, and just submit. Submit.
All
We're
right.
here, ready, waiting.
Yeah. Once you have the nominees, will the public be able to vote as well on their favorites? Or is it
Right. So
internal?
once we have all the nominees, we'll prepare, we prepare these nice graphics and we'll post them on our page. And people will, along with that, post the information on how to vote. There's usually a link that we have there that you can use to do the voting.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
I am so looking forward to that. Now, I want to go back to earlier days of Caribbean Posh because I've read somewhere that you started it actually with your mom and your sister and a couple of friends.
Yeah.
That's how it came to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My day ones.
Wow, that is amazing because we were just talking about, some parents not really understanding the big vision, but your mom
Mhm.
obviously did. And not only did she understand the vision, she actually stepped in and helped. That is
Yes, my
remarkable and so
mom and my
beautiful.
twin sister, I'm a twin by the way.
Yeah.
My twin sister, they're always, I mean, I come from a very loving, supporting family. I like to say my mom supports all my crazy endeavors. Yeah, so it's a blessing, and I really, really, really appreciate their support, and I appreciate them seeing the vision and being the voice of reason with me when, things aren't going quite, as I would like, or whatever the situation would be, you need your loved ones to bring you back to reality sometimes. But they've been very supportive. Yvette Noel Shore and Naomi Cohen also are very involved. As I expressed earlier, Yvette has been a
Mhm.
supporter from quite a long time. So we make up the advisory board that, helps narrow down who our honorees will be, and also just help to shape like how we will continue to build and grow this platform, all recognizing that doing something like this in the Caribbean is not easy at all, because within the region we have so many things that make it difficult for us to commerce as
Yes,
it is.
absolutely.
And here we are trying to go against the grain, to get us together within the region versus saying, let's all go up to Miami, let's all go up to New York. That might seem a little easier. It might be even cheaper for some of us.
Yes, exactly.
Um, but and we will do those sort of things because there's a big diaspora that we engage with as well, but we also recognize the importance of doing things like this at home,
Yeah.
because if we're not pushing the grain to have these type of things at home, then we're always going to have, this constant wall, or these extra doors we need to go through.
Hmm.
um, you know we have this really cool partnership with Inter-Caribbean Airways that is helping. We definitely want to see more of that. I kind of think that if we, you know, continue this event, this continuous push for us to need to come together, I'm hoping one day it will, create that demand that
Yes.
airlift needs to be a little easier because
Gosh,
you're
yes.
literally right there. You should be able to get here much easier and much more affordably. But
Mhm.
definitely greatly appreciate the team over at Inter-Caribbean for acknowledging the movement and seeing the vision and doing what they can to make it possible for Caribbean women to connect.
Right, correct. Oh, that is so beautiful. But yes, like you said, it's definitely easier for us to get to New York than it is for us to get to, our neighbors. It's ridiculous really with the airline prices. Jeanette, I want to take you back a little bit again because before Caribbean Posh existed, I'm kind of
Okay.
curious to know who Jeanette was
Mm, before.
before. I mean, this idea was probably, it has actually defined pretty much who
Mm,
Chanel is now, today, but, and continues to define you in many ways. But I think that, I'm just curious to know who Jeanette was before Caribbean Posh.
okay. Let me see. Well, I
I'm taking you back now in the time
I'm trying to
machine.
figure out where should I start. Oh gosh. I think I've always been a big dreamer. I always remember my twin sister and we were born in the US Virgin Islands, but raised in the British Virgin Islands, and a bit in New York. We spent some time in New York as well, but in our early days here in the Virgin Islands, I recall, um, us being on the porch, playing the music loud and singing to the top of our lungs, and the neighbors always telling our grandparents, because we were living with our grandparents, them twin girls, always singing and dancing, always singing and dancing. Um, we were lovers of music and still are lovers of music. We love to sing, we love to dance, we love entertainment, and we appreciate um, talent, the performing arts. My sister actually, she's involved in the performing arts series here in the BVI. Um, so I think once we went away to school, that sort of continued. We would participate in different performing arts programs, and our mom would always travel to come see us when our period of high school in New York. Um, and even when we came back home and we would still be in these little performing arts things, our mother was always front and center screaming to the top of her lungs. Like she would
Your biggest
literally
cheerleader.
be the loudest person. Um, we were always, coming from a small community, pretty, I guess some people would say popular because we were one of few twins, but now it has a lot of twins.
Hmm.
So we were like the original twins, and then we're very identical. So that made us even more of a thing. Which
Yeah.
one are you? Just to this day, it's the story of my life. Which one are you? Which one are you? So yeah, we just love music, singing, dancing. Um, Grew up listening to a lot of old school music. Um, had numerous opportunities to travel every now and then and really appreciate the world, really. Um, I'm still trying to see, my goal in life is I want to see as many Caribbean islands as possible. I mean, yes, I want to see more of Europe and I want to see, these things,
Yeah.
but it's more important for me to see more of the Caribbean
Yeah.
because the Caribbean has, you know, I want to say, how do I want to say? I want to say like the Caribbean has more of my untold story because when I think about times when I used to sit with my great grandparents, my
Mhm.
great grandmother, by the way, she's 107, she's still alive.
She's still there.
Um, She's
Wow.
still there. Um, I remember when I was younger being with her and my great grandfather. He has since passed. Um, and just hearing them tell us about different stories about, her people came from Antigua, and there's the DR connection, and my great grandfather and my grandfather were boat builders. So there was this whole education about how, you know, people used to just go on the sea to do trade, and some people might have went to Trinidad and didn't come back, or
Hmm.
because they just started a new life someplace else. My great grandmother, I forget how much, she had several siblings, but I only know of one because only one was nearby. The
Hmm.
others, they just, and they came up from a time where it's like keeping in contact wasn't the easiest thing. We have all this modern technology today,
Correct.
but I remember when I went Antigua for the first time, I was trying to figure out, how can I find my people? Because I know I have roots there. So it's like, that's why I feel like the Caribbean has so many untold stories.
Yeah.
When we look at each other as Caribbean people, we are really one people,
Yes, we
because
are.
our forefathers did a lot of inter-island. They did it the
Oh,
hard
yeah.
way, but they did it. And yeah, so I appreciate things like that. So I love when I have the opportunity to go to different Caribbean islands and learn about, how they do things, or how, we might call a fruit something and they call it something else, and these different things. It's always cool.
Yeah.
And I had this interesting conversation in one of my sessions that I do with our members,
Hmm.
where somebody reminded me of the fact that when you come from the islands and you move to the US, how you kind of find a whole greater sense of appreciation for being Caribbean,
Yes.
because if you're in the States, you're going to any Caribbean spot is like, being
Yep.
just welcome. You're excited to have Caribbean food. You're excited to go to the Labor Day parades or the VI picnic and all these different things that
Yeah.
the different Caribbean islands do, in New York or Miami or what have you. We love it. We love to get together.
Yes.
So yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I
I
think,
love it.
it's so funny hearing you talk about this. First of all, I that is how I started 10 years ago myself. It was with the
Nice.
Traveling Island Girl, and the whole point of that was to empower women, Caribbean women, to
Uh-huh.
travel and Caribbean travel, to
Okay.
travel solo, or to kind of like expand their horizon in the Caribbean, kind of like visit their neighbors. And I remember
Mm.
one of the islands that I absolutely wanted to visit was Tortola, or actually the BVIs and the USVIs. And I found
Mm-hmm.
myself at a bar, I was just this morning looking at pictures from that day. This is like, I think I'm 51 now, so this is like when I was 46 or something. So it's a few years,
Mm.
and I was celebrating my birthday. I decided Tortola would be the place, and I took the ferry over to Virgin Gorda, and I was sitting at a bar in Virgin Gorda. We were having this discussion with the bartender, who was saying, "You know what? I've decided I am not dating in the Caribbean because somebody might be my cousin." And so that is what your story reminds me of, because that's exactly
Ah!
there's a connection there with a lot of us, like whether
Mm-hmm.
our forefathers have actually been like, especially with Curacao, there was a lot of people from St. Martin, from Trinidad, from all over, that used to come to
Yeah.
Curacao to work for Shell. So that was that, it's like, and then they of course mingle with others, and then they have kids, and then so we're all related, I feel, in one way or another.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty
Yeah.
of all of us. Can you imagine, Jeanette, if we all come together and we become this one? I'm sure we would become this one big force if all of us unite
Yeah.
in the Caribbean.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that's somewhere in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Not in our lifetime maybe, but yeah, somewhere down the line.
I think the
It's a
science is
possibility.
there, and it's, yeah, absolutely it.
If
This
they
is
could just figure
from
out
what
how to get what do you call it, CARICOM to
yeah.
sort themselves out.
Oh, but before I let you go, before we get into the end of this conversation, which I can't imagine that we're already getting into, because I can
Mm.
have this conversation with you all day. I do want to know from you, as first of all, who inspired you, and I already have a feeling you're going to tell me your mom was a big inspiration. Besides your mom, what other Caribbean woman was a big inspiration to you? But I also want to know from you, what do you think is the superpower of the Caribbean woman?
Okay. Well, I have to say my mom because
Yeah.
my mom was a my mom, she is like one of the hardest working women you'll ever want to meet. I mean, she's just amazing and she's so selfless. She will give her very last for anyone.
Mhm.
She was a teen mom. She had my sister and I when she was just 16. And
Wow.
despite all her struggles, she has overcome so much. So much. I mean, she works really hard. She's so smart. I mean, I used to tell my mom, and she tells me this all the time. I said, I want to be, she said to me when I was little that I told her that I want to be like her when I grow up. She tells this story all the time, and she says, "No, baby, I want you to be better than me." And she
Yeah.
meant that heartful. It was
Mhm.
heartfelt, because of how her life turned out for her. She didn't want, and any mother, you don't want your children to go through any struggle that you went through. So I certainly appreciate what all my mother has done for my sister and and our brothers as well. I can't forget my brothers. Um,
We've been
she
talking about
has,
women so much that we forgot about the
yeah.
boys.
And my
Sorry.
brothers support my event as well, and my son. My son is my video person. He does the whole
Oh,
video production stuff.
fantastic. I was actually going to
Yes.
ask you that off camera. That I thought that the videos are excellent.
Yes. He's a cinematographer, so he does a lot of film and commercials and stuff like that. So in his spare time, he helps his mother.
That is
Yeah.
fun.
So my mom, big inspiration. Just she wanted to be a lawyer. She did eventually finish her high school degree. She went to start law school. She was a paralegal, and then my grandfather started his business, which is Smith's Ferry Services. Is a ferry company that connects the U.S. and British Virgin Islands.
Yes, I
And
remember seeing that when I was there.
yeah, so she came back home to help my grandfather because he lost his vision.
Mhm.
And of the children, he asked her to come and help, and she did. She gave up what she was doing to focus on his dream, and she has managed to take that to the highest heights, further than my grandfather even thought that
Imagine
he
of,
could,
yeah.
because Hurricane Irma took all the vessels and she kept the business running even with no boats. She
Wow.
made things happen, leasing boats to make that schedule happen and make it possible to get another loan so that they could get these new boats, and refurbish one of the old boats. So she's an amazing woman. So I want to be like her.
So your dream is still to be, yeah, like your mom.
Yeah. But aside from my mom, power women, the Mia Motleys,
Hmm.
Yvette Noel Shore, who I speak about a lot, women who have just done amazing things. And,
Yes.
all our honorees, really, when they get selected, they're selected because they're doing amazing things. They're inspiring. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Wow. And when it comes to like the Caribbean women's superpower, what do you think that is?
Our superpower. Huh. I almost want to say resilience, but I feel like we always say resilience. But we are pretty resilient.
We are. It can be stretched and stretched and stretched, and we keep going.
Yes, we come right back.
Yeah. So resilience is
But
a good
yeah.
one, definitely. Yeah. And
Yeah,
what would you
I think so.
think? What do you think? I'm also curious to know what you think is the least good thing about the Caribbean women. I feel like there is still like this one thing. If you have to put it into words, what is the main thing that keeps us back? That is keeping us from, you know, doing the necessary things to creating
Mm.
this dream life that we have for ourselves, that we want to achieve.
Um, when I first came back home after living in the States, I used to get this said to me a lot, like, who she thinks she is? Who
Yeah.
she thinks she is, so I would say we still have some of that type of mentality where people don't know how to direct their appreciation for you
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
their
Oh, wow. That's
admiration of
such a
you.
nice way to put it.
Um, you know, we as Caribbean women should never be made to feel that we have to shrink ourselves. We should not be afraid to show appreciation for each other.
Mhm.
If you're doing something great, I am happy for you, and I need to show you that appreciation, because if I have the ability to embrace that and do that unconditionally, then it allows me to find my
Exactly.
individual strength and power, and
Yeah.
then we just shining all over the damn place.
Exactly. All
Because
together.
we let go of these different, I
Mhm.
don't know what it is, but I
It's
want
it's
to
a
believe.
mentality of keeping each other small because we're small. And how dare you
Yeah,
shine if I can't shine? While
yeah,
there's magic for all of us out there. There's
there
really
is.
it unlimited, and we're constantly thinking
Mm-hmm.
that it's if you get too much of it, then there's not going to be enough for me. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. So I really want Caribbean Posh to be a space where it allows us to shed that if we are
mhm,
feeling that in our lives. And hopefully we're at least opening enough to recognize if we're doing that and figure out what we need to do to get rid of that behavior. And I think once we're able to do that, when it comes to this idea of collaboration, we'll be able to do it much smarter,
yes,
and open our minds to learn how to collaborate, because a lot of times collaboration is challenging because we
yeah,
don't know how.
mhm,
Everybody is afraid to show their insecurities.
yeah. And
So
to be
we
real
we,
and
we need to
stop,
lean
we
into
need to
it.
stop gatekeeping also. It's like if I
Yeah,
want to collaborate with you, then you're gonna know how I do it and you're gonna steal my plans, kind of thing. Yes.
right,
Yes.
right.
A lot of
Yeah,
that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we are coming towards the end, like I said before, but we still
Mm-hmm.
keep on talking because there's so much to talk about. But I do want to go back to Caribbean Posh Weekend, and it is happening at the end of June. How
Mm-hmm.
can someone, the listener right now, who wants to be part of this weekend, how can it be a part of? How does that process go?
Yes. So whether you're a solo traveler or you got your girlfriends and y'all can sort things out quickly and y'all are not afraid to celebrate yourselves and connect with other Caribbean women, just log on to our website, caribbeanposh.com/WKD. You can register for the full weekend, or if you're here in the region, or shoot, I've had women fly from all the way to Los Angeles just for one
Oh
day.
yeah,
These are people who really wanted to be there. But yes, you can register for the full weekend or you could register for the individual days. We'd love to have you for the full weekend. We would love to have you be a part of the movement and just continue to celebrate you as a Caribbean woman and us as Caribbean women, and just keep this movement going. And just think about, you know, the importance of every now and then you deserve some recognition, some celebration. Invest in yourself and just join us in at Caribbean Posh Weekend. You
love
know, yeah. Bring
it.
your daughter if you want to bring your daughter. Your girlfriends don't want to go. Yeah. So.
Wow, fantastic. So, I want to close this off. And just to you, listener, if you are now thinking, oh, okay, now that was too fast for me to write it down, don't worry. It is going to be in the show notes. If you are watching this on YouTube, it is going to be below this video in the description. I'm gonna have all the links there for you, so you don't have to do too much. And
Mm-hmm.
going to guide you directly to how you can get in contact with Janette and her team to be a part of Caribbean Posh Weekend and all of what you can do to get there, and how you can also, of course, don't forget that if you are from the region and you want to go to St. Thomas, oh, sorry, to Tortola, it's happening in
Yeah, the British Virgin Islands.
British Virgin Island.
So we're in the British Virgin Islands. You could fly into Tortola, or you can fly into St. Thomas and take the
Correct.
ferry over.
Mhm.
Where the event itself is actually taking, if you're familiar with the British Virgin Islands, we're several islands.
Yeah.
So the event is going to be on a private island called Peter Island at a
Oh,
local owned venue called Ocean 7. I'm very excited about that. We're doing something
wonderful.
very different this year, but I'm excited by the fact that we're using a locally owned venue.
Wow.
And which lends itself to one of the topics that we're having at the brunch. I didn't mention this earlier, but all the ladies that we're having from the tourism sector, including Donna Regis Prosper, who's the CEO of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, they're going to be engaged in a conversation about the importance of us owning our tourism market or industry.
Wow.
You know, a lot of times, especially in smaller islands, well, in any Caribbean island,
Mhm.
really, we feel sometimes that we're more participants than owners. You
Yes.
know, we're coming into a time when we're getting to the point where we need to
Mhm.
change that. You know, we need to be owning more of our home than we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that conversation should be really, really good.
So I guess you will have transportation also from those who are staying in Tortola to get to Peter Island.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So once you register, we'll share all that information. When you register, if you're in one of the islands where Inter-Caribbean Airways serves, you'll get the code to get their 25% off your air travel.
Mhm.
So I encourage you to do that as soon as possible, so that you could get your discount on your flight. Also, if you're in the U.S. Virgin Islands, we have Smith's Ferry Services will be
Of course.
providing the discounted ferry over to to BVI,
Mhm.
and they'll also be providing the transportation over to Peter Island. It's going to be, we have it all sorted out. It's going to be absolutely
Fantastic.
amazing. You're going to be like feeling like $1,000,000, trust.
Oh, I bet we are. And I guess also accommodation, a list of accommodation that you
Oh
recommend.
yes, the website. There are some recommended hotels. Shout out to Long Bay Beach Resort. They gave us a special rate for our guests, along with Maria's by the Sea. They also gave a discount code. Yeah. Yes, we realize it is an investment, so we went out of our way to, create some good partnerships that help to make things
Yeah.
more possible. So making it happen.
Okay, fantastic. Jeanette, thank you so much for your time. I cannot thank
Thank
you
you for
enough
having
because
me. I
of
really
how
appreciate it.
super busy you are with all of the planning and all of the, getting everything, all the T's crossed and the I's dotted for this big event that is coming up. So I really, really value, and I'm totally grateful for you spending
You
this
know,
little hour or
I
unspent
let you in on a
hour with me.
secret that I haven't told anyone. I've been doing a lot of regional interviews, but I haven't told anyone what else I'm doing besides Caribbean Posh.
Okay. Are we about to get an exclusive? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, you. That made me
So
laugh.
you
Too
have heard
funny.
this first, listener.
But
You're hearing
yes,
this first.
if you once you get to know me, you know that I'm very passionate about the Caribbean. I'm very passionate about the Virgin Islands. I'm very passionate about, doing what we can to improve the quality of life for our people. So that starts with where I am here in the Virgin Islands. So I have decided to run for office. Imagine that. And I'm not a politician. I'm not a politician. I am just
But
someone
that's the
who
thing.
wants
That's the
better
thing.
for our people.
But that's what your people need, and that's what we need more of. We need non-politicians
Yes.
becoming politicians.
Yes, so I'll be doing
Wow.
that. So if I'm successful, I hope to make a difference in the areas of business and economic development, which I do have experience in. When I
Mhm.
lived in the States, I worked for Maryland State Department of Business and Economic Development, now known as Maryland Department of Commerce. So I
Mhm.
have a lot of thoughts and ideas around what we should do here in the Caribbean, not just here in the Virgin Islands, but any Caribbean
Yeah.
island, and what we need to be doing to create more jobs in our region or in our respective islands. Making sure that we're helping local businesses to thrive in whatever environment that we're currently in. We know we're in a crazy one right now. But yeah, those are the kind of things that I'm passionate about. I'm definitely passionate about women empowerment.
Yeah.
So I understand how that trickles into, you know, the life that our children will have, our families will have. Once women are empowered, there's so much more that we can achieve.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm not shy about the fact that women, I think I said it earlier,
Yes, you
Caribbean women
did.
are going to be the ones to make significant
Impact.
moves and marks and
Yes.
taking us forward as a region, I feel.
Yeah.
So highly inspired by the likes of Mia Motley. I'm nowhere near her genius,
Not
but yes,
yet. Not yet,
she's
you're not. But
amazing.
I have no doubt that you're going to be the next Mia Motley.
But yes, and at the end of the day, I hope it at the very least inspires more of us
Yeah.
to, do whatever we can to make that positive difference that we want to see. Not just talk about it, but be about it, because we're not getting younger.
Yeah.
The world ain't getting easier. And we know, as a mother, I want to leave. I always tell my son this all the time. I want to leave this earth knowing that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I've been at bedside when my grandfather was dying, and that's what he was saying to me. He wants to
Mhm.
know that we will be okay because he knows he's dying.
Yeah.
So we have to be more intentional about the things that we're doing to ensure that our children and our children's children are gonna be okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, and we in the Caribbean can compete globally. Yeah, so
That's
definitely passionate about
fantastic.
those kind
If
of
I
things.
could vote in the BVI, I would. And you got my vote. Amazing,
Yes.
amazing. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Thank you for your time. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
this exclusive. And I guess the next thing is for us to see each other in real life. I guess at the end
Yes.
of June. So I'm quite looking forward to it. So I don't know about you, listener, but I am gonna go straight to CaribbeanPosh.com right now to see about how I can register and get all the goodies that are coming with registration, like all the discounts that you can get to get there, but also just to be part of such a magical experience. And I keep saying magical, but at the same time it's such a beautiful experience to be in a room with like-minded people, with like-minded women, with women with an a well, how do you say that, with similar histories too. I think
Yeah.
that's so beautiful when you get a room full of Caribbean women together. So um,
Yes.
kudos to you, kudos to the whole team of Caribbean Posh, and yeah, I guess we'll see
Yay.
you then.
Yay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.